Good morning, my lovers. I am at home. I'm going to do a review of the month. All my finds in the past month, I'm going to do a review. Now, as you can see, this looks very similar to that. Very similar. It's got a small end there, and that one's got a small end. It is a very similar shape. And this is what I thought at the time was a Saxon buckle, because this definitely is a Saxon buckle, broken one. You can see the small end there, and the innards, if we can get hold of it properly. The innards are triangular at that end, and that end's, the other end's smooth. It's the same with this. Triangular, and this is slightly smaller as it is with this one. But I don't think it is a Saxon buckle now in hindsight. Difficult to tell when you're in the middle of a field. They do look very similar. Do you remember the gun I found? These things were about 50 feet apart. And this, at the time, that I thought was a gun, might not be. In hindsight. Now, they actually match up. Where is it? Ah, there we go. There it is. Perfect match. Now, I didn't think it was possible for one of these things to corrode as much as they have. I thought there's no way it could be anything other than something really old because of the level of corrosion on it. Obviously this is spring loaded and would have gone into there. And at the time I couldn't see much of a gap for the spring loaded thing to go down into. You can just see a bit there, look. So it only gone back a tiny little bit. So yeah, it is in actual fact something to do with dog walking. And that there is a perfect match. But they were found 50 feet apart. So this must be pretty old, that the ploughing has moved them. Now, I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong, but what I don't like is when people come onto my YouTube channel and have a go at me and use aggressive language. I tend to delete those kind of comments. Right, now let's go on to the next thing I found. Now this is really nice. This is a piece of slip. And that makes me think that the field that I'm in has got a really old building. Here is some more slip that I found in a completely different place, near to a church. And that's the same kind of thing. You've got the red clay and the interior, look where it's gone black. Same sort of material. This one's probably a bit better, this one's a bit redder. You can see the indentation that they would have used to indent it before they pushed the slip in. And the black interior, same with that, exactly the same. So yeah, something's really interesting me in this field, that there could be a really old building there. Right, let's go over to the computer and find the sort of tiles that this would have come from. So here is the type of tile that fragment comes from. You can see multiple designs. I found similar tiles to this one and these ones here. They probably date to the 12th century. So here's let's have a quick look at that one. So this is what I'm talking about. They hammer in this sort of impression and then they fill the cavity with a lighter coloured slip. And there would have been a band of people travelling around the country, turning up at grand houses and showing them a catalogue of different designs, and the landowner would then pick out what sort of tiles he wanted, and they'd be made on site. And the archaeologists can now actually trace where these people had been going. So obviously they were in the area that I've been metal detecting, and then they travelled on to various other abbeys and grand houses around the country, and you can actually trace where they were at different times now, which is fantastic. So they're pretty old. In fact, I think I might have this design in one of the tiles that I've got from when I did a dig 2 years ago, and some like that one. That one there, which says open. Right, on to the next. Right, these are the next finds I found. Now I think this is lead, but I'm not entirely sure the material of this one. It looks more like stone than lead. You can see this one's got a bit of a grey, you can see the lead coming through. But this one is a little bit more tricky to know what material that is. And there's a bit of grey on the end there, it might be lead. So these are what's called as scribes. They might have had a pointed end at this end and a flat. You can see that this one is actually flat, or was going flat. So this would have been used as the rubber to smooth out the wax if they'd made a mistake, and the pointy end would have been to scribe into the wax. Would have little books with beeswax. And it would have melted level with a little wooden frame around the outside, and they would have melted beeswax and poured it in, and once it's set they'd use this to write into it. So a type of stylus or scribe. Let's check out what I'm talking about on the computer. So here's the sort of thing I'm talking about, these things here. This is see, it says Roman lead stylus there, Roman. So it's sort of maybe late medieval into the Roman. So that one's got a point at that end and flat at that end. So yeah, I think it's either Roman or medieval. And you would have used one of these devices. So you would have flat end to cover up any mistakes, and the pointy end to scratch into the wax to make writing, like this one. There you go. Maybe they used probably flat end to take away any kind of excess wax, but that's basically what that is. Let's see if we can find one on the database that tells us how old it is. Here's the database. Look, it says there finds.org. Can we actually find one that's, because I know this is on the database but it doesn't give the age. Can we find one? Probably not. I'll go back to this one. This is on the database. We have styli, pencils and parchment prickers. Oh, the shaft, look, it's definitely a pricker, it's got a shaft. All different types. So we can go down to the one I found. I found one of these once. Someone else did. There we go, there it is. The flat end and the pointy end. If we can find one, oh no, let's go back. It said that's the third, so that's the second. That one there, I expect. Yeah, that one. Right, so this one says medieval 1100s to 1700. So it's around about the same date as the little bit of medieval floor tile I found. So, you know, it's contemporary. There could be a building there. So that's interesting. Right, on to the next. Right, my next find I'm going to look at is a pot leg. There's a pot leg. Strangely enough, the legs are always really crusty. I suppose it's because they get a lot of fire damage, because they're the ones near the heat. Because the actual bowls themselves are in relatively good condition. So that would have probably done something like that. Somewhere, maybe underneath. So that the legs always come up crusty. But the bowls always come up in really good condition, and that's the best one I found. But you can still see the scratch marks from when they probably were trying to clean off burnt food. Yeah, that's my best piece. Now, what is the date of this pot is questionable. So let's go over to the computer and see if we can find out what sort of date these things are. Now here I've got a very similar looking piece of pot. Cast copper alloy vessel, possibly Roman. Oh, I didn't even think it was that old. Let's have a look at this one. Yeah, it's got a very similar profile. Very similar. Right, close that one. 43 AD to 410. So yeah, I suppose it's possibly Roman, but I always thought it was medieval, but there you go. It's possible that I'm wrong. Blackened on the outside. Well, mine was it is a bit black on the outside. Yeah, let's have a close-up image. There we go. Yeah, that's almost exactly the same. And that's what they normally come up like, looking at that black on the outside and smooth on the in. So yeah, it's possibly a Roman pot. Now, let's have a look at the pot legs. Pot leg. Pot leg. Search. Pot leg. Yeah. Oh, that's quite a nice pot leg. Never found one that ornate before. Let's try copper alloy pot leg. Copper. Doesn't seem to be doing it for copper alloy pot leg, but that's the sort of thing, like that. Oh, scroll down to it, wherever it might be. There's a pot leg. There we go. That's a rather ornate pot leg. No, that's not right. I'll get there one day. Ah, is that it? That's it. So yeah, these are pot legs. Right, on to the next. I also found this, which is a copper alloy material. It's got faint lines on it, but this side is incredibly rough, really jagged. So I don't know what that's from. If anyone could tell me. Right, what else have we got down here? Oh, this was interesting. Now this is a coin. Is it evasion money? I think it's called something like evasion money. And it's just counterfeit. A counterfeit coin. I think there's a person on there somewhere. There she goes. It's like a type of Britannia. And I'll show you on the computer what this coin's all about. because it definitely looks like a foreign dignitary on there. Right, here's the coin, and it's Colonel Kirk, and it's Evasion halfpenny. Colonel Kirk. This one's from North Wales, but I think mine's an island somewhere, little island. Yeah. The shortage of official coinage in the second half of the 18th century led to a second major series of privately issued tokens, mostly copper halfpennies, in the UK, together with many contemporary imitations and forgeries of the official halfpenny. These foreigners are now generally known as evasions, forgeries, foreigners. And little is known about their clandestine makers. The first issue of halfpennies of George III are dated 1770 to 1775, and no further coppers coins were officially issued until the cartwheel coins by Matthew Bolton in 1797. So yeah, it's a forgery. On to the next. Right, here's my next find. Unfortunately, this was in pretty worse condition. Its condition was very iffy, and when I tried to clean it, it snapped. There wasn't much metal holding it together. So what I've done is I've super glued it back together. But apparently, one of my subscribers has said that this is a Charles II Maundy money coin. So what we need to do is go over to the microscope and we'll see if we can find a date on it. Right, here's the coin. 1683 Charles II early milled silver Maundy 4p. And this is the reverse with those intercrossing circly things. And there's, when I said I saw the fleur-de-lis, there's the fleur-de-lis. So it's going to, couldn't possibly see a date on it. I'll have a quick look, but it's looking pretty ropey now that I know where the fleur-de-lis is. Yeah, it's opposite side. Well, I might be able to get a date. Right, let's put this under the microscope. We might be able to see a date. Right, so hopefully we might be able to see a date. So if I get the torch and angle it, and then get something to move the coin around. First of all, we want to see if we can find the fleur-de-lis. Right, where's the fleur-de-lis gone? Could have sworn I saw it on there. Can't seem to see it now. But the date might be, is that the date there? So I can see the IT. Right, we can see ET there, that for extraterrestrial. Right, let's go back to see where the ET is on the coin. ET, there it is. So it should be opposite, in the complete opposite direction from the 83 to the ET. Let's go back to that. Right. Get the torch back on there. So there's the ET, so it should be on the opposite side. Should be down there. I do not think we're going to see a date. Is that a 6? Is that a 6 there? Where am I? Is that a... Oh. Is that a 6? Right, we got a 6. I think that's about all we're going to get. Right, so yeah, the coin's not in the best of condition. Let's have a look at the other side. Yeah, it's pretty ropey. Right, on to the next. Let's have a look at this beautiful little brooch or buckle or whatever it's supposed to be. A lovely little bit of decoration on the pin. And I showed this to my finds liaison officer, and he indeed said it was old. Oh. This is 11th century. That little delicate little thing there, look, and it looks like it was made yesterday. And that's almost 1,000 years old. Beautiful. I sent some pictures to my finds liaison officer, and this is what he sent back. So yeah, this is obviously the ring minus the pin, and this one is a copper alloy annular brooch, complete except missing pin, of medieval date. And down here it says here 1100 to 1400. And he also sent me another one showing the same thing again. But look at this one's quite ropey, but mine is in a bit better condition. Yeah, circa 13 to 1500. So yeah, again, could be really old. So yeah, it is a annular buckle, says up there. On to the next. Well, next I have a series of George V coins. Sixpence, florin, and this is the first one I've ever found one of these. It is a half crown. Well, first one of these this type. I've got other half crowns, but yeah, that's some nice little silver coins. Always nice to have a bit of silver. And here we have I think it's at sixpence. Not entirely sure. This one is a William III. It's a bit rubbed. It's been in circulation for a few years. And here is the reverse. There might be a date on there somewhere, but I think it's up this end. It's been rubbed off. Very nice. And now onto the hammies. Right, so I'm going to see the king's face. Ah, there it is. Right, there's the king. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. Well, I'll put this one under the microscope. Oh, look at the state of them nails. Terrible. If we can get a real close-up shot under the microscope. And here's the next one. Well, it's probably quite identifiable with those pellets in the middle of the cross. Oh. Someone said they saw a letter in there, but I'll get it under the microscope, see if we can see a letter. Right, so I don't know if you can see that, but I can just about make out his head. I cannot, if there is a letter there, all I can see is the bottom of his ear. So I suppose it's possible that his head, there is a letter there. On the small one, on this is a Eddie Penny, methinks. Let's just turn it over. So you can see the pellets inside the centre of the cross. And here's the other coin. Still got a bit of dirt in there. Oh. Right, so there's, if you can read that. I'm not that great on identifying medieval coins, but is that better? That's better. It's a bit difficult to work out where you're pushing this thing. Right, that's better. So yeah, I got a torch on an angle to try and, if I take the torch away, it looks worse. Put the light up a bit. See, it sort of doesn't work as well. But if you get a torch at an angle, it tends to make it look a little bit better. Right, so this is the find of the month. This is what I'm most excited about, because that implies with all those, I've been finding a lot of coinage, all from this one particular field, and now with this piece of tile, floor tile, in this field, I'm really excited about the future. Hopefully some time in the not too distant future we might get some geophysics on that field. Right, hopefully the weather's going to be a bit better tomorrow, so Tuesday's video might be me doing a bit of metal detecting. Cheers! True love, and gently drops the rain.